Hi everyone, so I'm Elizabeth from Sacred Earth and Storm School, and thank you for joining me as we on the 31st of March and we're about to go into the new month of April. And as we know, yesterday was a really amazing event. Neptune, for the first time in 165 years, went into the sign of Aries. Um, and this video is really just to talk about these kind of big changes that have occurred, um, and what we can expect and how we can integrate these energies. Um, so for me, and as you will know, the day before, on the 29th, there was a partial solar eclipse, which was the concluding eclipse from the lunar eclipse that happened on the 14th of March. And the solar eclipse was a very interesting and very powerful event. And Neptune going into Aries the very next day, it really, in a way, was almost one global event together, even though they were on separate days. And the solar eclipse for me was very much about, it's like our nervous system was upgraded. And you may have felt that the last 3 or 4 weeks, really exhausted, perhaps feeling that time is speeding up, which it is in a way, or more is happening during the same time. That's really, we have the experience of it speeding up, but what's really happening is that so much more is happening in the same time period. And so the solar eclipse was really preparation for this massive upgrade in our nervous system. So in our nervous system, there have been these, how shall I put it, almost like programs, old programs or impediments that we've been carrying in our body, in our brains, in our beliefs, our emotions, our mental, emotional fields, etc. So this eclipse really took out so much of that old conditioning, old impediment or hindrances, as it were. So these hindrances for me was very much about the past, and especially childhood, where, and you may have experienced it even on the day of the eclipse as I did, where there was almost a feeling of rebellion that we have in childhood when we realize, or we just sense that something isn't actually in balance, it's not okay, and we don't really feel we have the power or the ability to do something about it or speak out about it. So these kind of suppressed frustrations and even anger would have come out just before the eclipse or during the time of the eclipse, the day of the eclipse, maybe even specifically. And it was all about saying something is not working for me, it's out of balance, this is not fair, or a lot of it was really to do with where we were losing energy. You know, there was too much taking, not enough receiving, that kind of theme. So it'd be interesting for you to reflect on what you were feeling on the 29th or the day before, etc. Is there something maybe you can become aware of that would just be very interesting for you to know? Because with the eclipse, that level of disempowerment was actually taken out. It was taken out of the collective and taken out of our own energy fields. So, you know, during the eclipse, especially the solar eclipse, there's when the light is blocked out, the sunlight is blocked out and the influence of the sun is completely cancelled, that's when huge amounts of energy can actually leave the planet. And that's why an eclipse is so phenomenal in its effect, because it's so powerful. You know, it's almost like thousands and thousands of years of conditioning and programming can actually literally be taken out, the electromagnetics of it, and therefore also out of the electromagnetics of our bodies that holds that memory. So it's like in a way, a memory that was wiped clean, where around this theme, as I say, for me, was all about, very much about a kind of a feeling of rebellion, a feeling of maybe exhaustion, but underneath it, probably also anger or frustration, the need to, um, in a way, speak out, and have some boundaries. Very, very important about boundaries. And that's been coming up for the whole of March, really, also with the lunar eclipse that was, on the full moon on the 14th of March, before the solar eclipse on the 29th. So very, very interesting. And then I certainly felt that yesterday on the 30th, when Neptune, the day after the eclipse, when it went into the sign of Aries, there was a feeling of lightness that came in. The day of the eclipse was a little bit more, still things were a lot happening, and maybe still a feeling of density, and also, this feeling of I feel I need to step up, assert myself more in the world, but I'm not quite sure if I'm safe. I'm not quite sure if I have the confidence for this. And then yesterday, with Neptune going into Aries, there was this feeling of lightness, of no, it's easy, this is possible. And there was a sense of celebration for me, a sense of it's like there's a certain base note that we've reached, a certain platform of moving forward, of lightness, of empowerment, of new beginnings that can now start to manifest and start to unfold. And that's a really wonderful thing. Now, also, when Neptune went into Aries, it triggered a very beautiful and favorable alignment with Pluto in Aquarius, that, as you will know, in November last year finally went into the sign of Aquarius. And so that's also part of this lightness, of this feeling of, wow, let's bring in the new, let's start to innovate, let's create, let's bring in inspiration, because Pluto being in Aquarius, it's actually saying, no, now it's the time of unconventional thinking, time of the new, bring in the future, let's connect with that, let's bring in aspects of ourselves even that have never existed before, a Renaissance energy. And so Neptune, for me, Neptune, I was reflecting about this, and see how that feels for you, because, we're all different and we have different awarenesses. But if you don't if you're not in the question and you don't ponder this, it's in a way, you're not focused on it, you won't get the awareness. And this awareness can be really valuable for you, because once you have clarity, so much more choice is available. You see so much more. It's like you're driving a car and suddenly the windows are clean, and you can see where you're driving. A very, very different thing. And this eclipse for me really brought a lot of clarity, and also with Neptune now going into Aries. It's like, Aries is fire, so the fire is illuminating. If you think of like a fire starting, the light brings in, you can see, and so there's a lot of clarity that came in. But think about how this maybe has affected you, how different you feel, and what the new possibilities are. What I felt was there's a lot of also, and a lot of people have actually spoken about this, and for me this is very, very real, is a massive level of light came in. Especially, as I said, yesterday I could feel it very strongly. It's like almost it really could anchor. And this is galactic light. It's almost like a wave of very high frequency energy came onto our planet. And what normally happens in my experience, and as I perceive it in my connection to the earth, because that's really my heart and my focus is, how we co-create with the earth, and her well-being and our well-being together, is that because it's very high frequency, it will normally, when it comes through the our universe and through the outer planets, the inner planets, and finally, you know, the sun and the moon onto our planet, um, it will come through the ancient trees, the ancient tree forests. They will receive it first. They are probably the most high frequency evolved beings on this planet. Even though we think as humans we are, certainly not. Well, that's my perception. So the ancient tree forests that are so important for us, and for our well-being as humans, um, also for the future, they would kind of almost be able to resonate and receive and hold this frequency first. That will then go to the animal kingdoms that are more in the wild. Here in Africa, the lions and the creatures that are very, very much still in their free state, their free earth connected state. And in the plant kingdoms, I've just done a beautiful program with some amazing people, just working with the lavender and artemisia kingdoms to just consciously ask for their support during this time of the eclipses and this astrological event of Neptune. And then, it will filter through, and it comes through our domestic pets, and then finally it will come into our bodies. And because, we kind of, it has to be stepped down for humanity, for all of us. But it happens, and there's a divine, how shall I say, synchronicity and flow in it. And it's not right, it's not wrong. It's like it's being co-created, and it's beautiful in the way that it aligns. But it's really important to open your heart and feel and make yourself, how shall I say, more conducive to receiving this light, because the light is there to support us. We're so used to doing things on our own and being in struggle, the old human program of what the mind's called the 1260, which is the old program that's human made and has nothing to do with the cycles of nature or the cosmos or anything. It's a kind of a bad idea, but we explored it, which gave us linear time. So if we can really, in that program, there was lack, there was feeling of separation, this feeling that we have no support. It's hard to manifest, it's hard to create. And that's really, it's so coming to an end now with these massive events, and it will continue. As we know, Saturn is also going to go into Aries in towards the end of May for the first time, and then this year all of them will kind of go back in the previous sign, retrograde, and next year they will finally be in the new signs permanently. But so Saturn is going to make a big shift in May, and there's a lot happening in the next upcoming full moon that we're going to have on the 12th, 13th of April. Venus is also going to go from being retrograde, it's going direct. So there's a lot of forward movement that's going to start happening now. March has been very much a state of completions, endings, going within, sorting things out, letting go, turmoil, maybe revisiting trauma, etc. But now that we going into April, and we've had the eclipses are complete in a way they've happened, and now we having to integrate the effect of it. This massive downpour of light has occurred and is busy integrating, and we've also had Neptune now in Aries. It's like we're starting to get this momentum of going forward and starting to have this feeling, we were talking about this on the plant program, that there's this, and this is the old primal brain that served us, when we were cave people, the primal brain is skewed to negativity. It always expects the worst, because that was our survival. That was actually good for us because it was very real that things would be scary and frightening and go wrong because it's living in that more primitive state. But now we don't, it's not true anymore, but the brain, the primal brain still functions like that. So we're busy evolving, but we also can consciously, help ourselves to move beyond that, to in a way master that and start to, instead of always expect as an instinct things to be hard and difficult and go wrong, it's almost like you're just waiting for the bad news. Why don't we just think it's good news? So it's like having to reorientate our thinking, our being, to going, the first instinct now is, oh, this is good news. Why shouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be? I'd be surprised if it's bad news, so-called. So it's that kind of change in perception and thinking, and orientation. And this is what these outer planets are so helping us. They're changing, helping us to change our orientation, our alignment, so that our kind of instant, spontaneous thoughts are becoming more open, lighter. There's a sense of, positivity in it. But as I said, someone was speaking about positive. It's not really positive. It's just more true. I would like to put it like that, because the positive is really sometimes almost a pseudo state. It's the opposite of not being negative. And we're way beyond that now. It's not about being positive. It's about actually tapping into what is more true. And with that, there's this lightness. So I would really, suggest for you to take this on board, and open your heart and start to trust life, start to trust you, trust your intuition, and feel this energy of light, enhanced light and lightness, and the new planetary influences of Aries coming into you and your body, because it's an organic process. The earth really wants you to do this, to start living organically with your body on all levels. It's not just a head thing. It's a living reality of a state of being. It's a state of being and a frequency that we hold. And when you open your heart, to be in the question and say, during this month of this time now, as we're going into April, what is my big dream? We've all had dreams, but now they need to be big. There are so many aspects. What I've just spoken about, and so much more coming in, with this massive expansion of us, of our energy fields, of our being. We're connecting to our galactic self in such a more meaningful, organic, real way, physical way. So, what is your heart's desire? What would you like to have in your life, and also for this world? Does it include regeneration of your life, of you, of your body, of your environment, of the community around you? Community is so, so important. It's really going to get even bigger now. There's going to be this absolute, because the heart is so open. It's saying, where and who can I connect with? And these are positive, enhancing relationships. And this is where Venus is still retrograde, to help us to reassess things and say, certain things just don't work for me anymore, and that's all okay. But I need to now create life-enhancing relationships, things that are inspiring, and where I inspire, and what contribution can I be, instead of just always wanting to receive. It's a completely different paradigm that's coming in. So, yeah, during this time of of really amazing opportunities and new beginnings. It's like a clean slate. We've never been here and we never will be again, obviously, where there is just, everything is up for grabs. So use this time wisely and take time to dream, to have a bigger dream. And now this dream is going to be made real. How can you make this dream real? That is the question. And start by one step at a time, to, start being present to the opportunities that are there. Start to feel these energies and live them, receive them, feel the support that is there from the earth. The earth would so want, she loves you, she wants you to thrive, and she's so proud of you. Acknowledge yourself that you've made it up to now. It's been tough. I mean, this last month has been very, very intense. So with many blessings, and yeah, let's enjoy life and let's make the most of it. Elizabeth.